Today we're going to be giving you our top 3 tips for shooting underwater footage. I'm Hayden.
And I'm Sophie.
And we've been shooting underwater footage over the past year with a bunch of different cameras in a bunch of different scenarios, and we've compiled our best tips for shooting your most cinematic footage. So stay tuned.
Tip number 1 is get comfortable in the water. So if that means going deeper and filming up, or getting behind the subject, following the subject, all of that needs to have a bit of skill in the water.
When I first got in the water and started filming underwater content, I was not nearly as good of a swimmer as Sophie. So she trained me up a little bit, and after learning to freedive even just 5 meters deep, it opens up a whole world of content you can get. You can get underneath your subject or just get views that most people don't see.
This also allows you to follow your subject. Say you're following a turtle or a dolphin, being able to freedive really helps you follow them so you can get that shot. If you're bobbing at the surface, you're going to end up with the exact same shots as everyone else. So if you learn how to freedive, you're going to be able to get more dynamic shots.
Tip number 2 is using the right gear. We've been shooting on the JOBY CPAL waterproof case, and it has been one of the best items that we've brought with us on our travels. We've played with different action cameras, cheaper waterproof housings, but nothing compares to this. It's an absolute brick. It can take you down to 10 meters, and it comes with a whole plethora of different accessories.
So the CPAL can fit a lot of different sizes of phones, ranging from iPhone 12 to iPhone 15. Right now I have my iPhone 13 Pro in here, and it's very snug. So it comes with a variety of these different little red bumpers, and you can put them in to fit different sizes of phones.
So the CPAL can also fit Samsung Galaxies, the S22 and the S23. So what's really nice about the fact that this can fit a multitude of phones is if you decide to upgrade your phone, this can upgrade with you. The CPAL range has a good multitude of accessories, including the shutter grip. It's got a shutter button, so you can use that to take your photos and your video. The nice lanyard that actually comes with it, and one of my personal favorites, which is the 6-inch dome. So this guy snaps right onto the front super easily, and just with a pop and a twist. Don't do what I'm doing and get your fingers all over the glass. But this allows you to get those really cool over-under shots that you've seen all over Instagram, where you can see both under the water and above it. Works in both photo and video, which is amazing.
I've been freediving a lot with the CPAL lately, and honestly it doesn't feel cumbersome at all, and it doesn't affect my freediving skills underwater by any means.
Especially with the lanyard, you can wrap it around your wrist and just swim, let it kind of dangle, and it won't go anywhere. And the dome actually allows this to float, because there's a whole big air pocket right there, so if you let go, it'll just shoot right to the surface. So this combination with the JOBY CPAL, we have been using non-stop in some really crazy conditions for the past 5-6 months, and it's yet to fail us. The waterproofing has stayed strong. The touchscreen compatible screen hasn't given us any issues whatsoever. We've knocked this thing off of rocks, we've dropped it into sand, and it's still working, and we used it just the other day. So the JOBY CPAL waterproof case is absolutely our #1 recommendation for if you're trying to get some awesome underwater footage and travel light.
Tip number 3 is lighting conditions. Unlike most videography, when you're shooting underwater, you actually want a lot of top-down bright light. So you don't want to go on a cloudy day, because the deeper you go, the darker it gets. So you need that light to shine on your subject.
You really want to be out right in the middle of the day, especially if you're shooting a deeper subject, certain marine life. You need that light to bring out the true colors that are actually underwater. Otherwise it'll look murky, blue, washed out.
So there's a few ways you can utilize the bright light. So my favorite, or one of my favorites, is silhouette shots. So that's when the light is behind your subject and they're all dark and silhouetted, and you are behind them shooting into the light.
Yeah, these shots can look amazing with people. What we like to do is actually dive deep and shoot upwards from underneath the subject if you have that top-down light, and it creates an amazing image. Another type of shot that you can get that's really, really cool, and you need just the right conditions, is if it's really bright, you can get the light to hit a diver's goggles, and it'll create a cool reflection that'll shoot into your camera, and it'll create almost a lens flare through that reflection.
On a really sunny day, the light rays can also create really nice texture in your shots.
So when the light conditions are on your side, there are so many different shots you can get and so much fun you can have, especially if you utilize our previous tips as well. On a worse day, a more moody day, I wouldn't be too discouraged because you can still get some amazing shots, as long as it's not too deep. Because the light, as Sophie said, it gets darker as you go deeper, so you need a lot of light for deeper shots. Also with lighting, it's good to use a camera that actually has decent low light. So on our iPhone 13 Pros, which we use with our JOBY C-Pal for underwater content, its main lens is actually quite good in low light, so whenever we're in moodier conditions, that's the one that we use. We won't use the wide or the telephoto, we'll stick to the default lens that the iPhone camera app has when you open it. In these moodier conditions, you might have a harder time when you have a camera or an action camera that's worse in low light, which is why we generally stick to using our iPhone for these types of shots.
So those are our top 3 tips on how to get better underwater footage. I hope this really helped you guys, and I hope you can incorporate some of these tips on your next travels.
Thank you for watching.